a synopsis of his career by Justin Myrick, followed by a song by the McBeth Youth Choir.
Good afternoon, McBeth.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'd like to thank the pastor, the first lady, the deacons, the youth day committee, and the members for inviting me to be here today. And I'd like to extend a special thank you to Miss Savitri Parham and to my godmother, Miss Renee Jones, for the invitation. And I'd also like to acknowledge my mom, Lisa Lopez. She's here with me today. Now, my name is Justin Myrick, and I would like to speak to you briefly about following your dreams. Now, I'm a 16-year-old TV and film actor, and although I was born and raised in Spartanburg, I've been in several movies with some of Hollywood's A-listers, and I've been featured on national TV shows during prime time. Now, I was in a national TV commercial for a New Wild Strawberry that was by Pop-Tarts. I was on a season premiere of ABC's Primetime What Would You Do, and you've heard my voice on a national radio ad for McDonald's Oatmeal and in a national radio ad for the Ad Council's Discover the Forest. I was also on two of those like huge posters that were up in every Target store in America, and I was also in a movie with Haley Joel Osment that came out like last November, and in February I was nationally televised on Daystar and TBN in a reenactment as a young Kynan Bridges for Sid Roth's TV show It's Supernatural. You may have heard of it, and on March 26th, that was just a couple of weeks ago, I was at another movie premiere in Brooklyn, New York, with Emmy Award-winning Alfre Woodard, and she plays the president on State of Affairs, and Benga Akinabi. You might know him from The Wire, and he's also on Fox's The Following, and I co-star with them in the movie, and the movie is called Knucklehead. It was talked about by the New York Times, and I was mentioned by name in The Hollywood Reporter and The Root, and apparently they like my performance in the movie, so those are just a few of the many projects I've worked on. So, to sum it all up, Google me. Now, you're probably wondering, what does all this have to do with church? Well, I'm getting to that. When I was younger, I was always doing plays, whether they were at school, community theater, or at church. Well, one day, I had a small part in a church play, and the director asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up. I said I wanted to be an actor, and it turned out that she knew an agent, so God had already placed someone in my path that could get me to my next step. And that church director, she knew a local talent agent, and we did our part, and God did his part. We auditioned for that talent agent, and she offered me a contract on the spot, and that led to doing local work. But this time, I got paid for it. And well, it turns out that because I did a good job with the small things, the agent wanted me to do bigger things. And I know the Bible talks about doing a good job with the small things and being faithful over the little things, and he will make us rule over much. And that's exactly what has been happening. That local agent knew an agent like in New York City, and so the local agent sent the New York City agent a link to my online profile, and it turns out that it was the same agent that got the Jonas Brothers and Christina Ricci started. And I had never heard of her, but God had. So, and he had her invite me to New York for an audition, and all the while, God was putting the other pieces in place. He gave me the best support team ever. Mom, Dad, and my grandparents. And my dad took me to New York City to meet with the agent and her team, and they offered me a contract on the spot and sent me on an audition on that same day. And only God knows what he has in store for you. There I was, a 12-year-old black boy from South Carolina, living and working in New York City. And the first job that I booked up there was an ad for Kellogg's Fruit by the Foot. And since then, I worked as an actor, model, and a voiceover. Now, originally, I wanted to be a Broadway actor. Now, instead of me being on Broadway, God had bigger and better plans for me. We tried to get through that door, but he had a bigger door open. And there might be something that you really want. However, God may keep that door closed to show you something bigger and better and more fulfilling. Just food for thought. And another thing, this does not happen overnight. It all started like 5 years ago, and it didn't just happen. I had to keep at it year after year, through the ups, the downs, and God knows there are plenty of them. And I poured blood, sweat, and tears in it, and that's what anybody has to do to make any dream come true. You have to persist. It may seem like people are getting famous every day for nothing, but those are rare instances.
Amen.
And I mean rare. And that means it probably won't happen for you, but that's okay. It just means you have to use your gift and work hard to be successful. But
Amen.
you have to persist even when times get hard. If I would have given up when times got hard, then I wouldn't be here today. So keep at it, because it doesn't happen overnight. And you have to keep at it and keep God in your inner circle. That's another thing. And that's another thing you'll need, is a good, strong support system. I could not have done any of the TV shows, the movies, the commercials without my support system. I could not have done any of that. I mean, Dad quit his job, and that's not easy. That was like a big step. That is not easy for anybody to just quit their job for you. And grandparents let us stay at their house for like 3 years, and Dad and I would go over lines and prepare for roles. And my mom would always make sure that I had clothes to wear to the auditions and money to get there. And what I'm saying is, you can't accomplish your dream alone. You're going to need a tight inner circle that will help keep you focused on your goals and motivated and steady. So choose them carefully, but God is always a good first start.
Amen. Amen. That's all right.
And also, grades are something that I never expected would play a big role in this, but apparently they do. We were on a movie shoot one time, and a part of the check-in process for the kids was to have your report card with you. And usually people think that kids in entertainment are dumb. That's not really the case. And along with a good audition, you have to have good grades. And just letting you know, that way you won't be blindsided. So, oh yeah, and this week I will be inducted into the South Carolina Connections Academy chapter of the National Honor Society. Now, with all that said, I'm here to tell you, you can go anywhere, do anything you put your mind to. Don't worry about the haters, the naysayers, the non-believers. I bet, the more successful you get, the less you'll hear from them. Now, you can do it. It is possible, no matter where you're from. Some of the biggest stars are from the smallest towns. I mean, Michael Jackson was from Gary, Indiana, and he's the king of pop. So, I mean, I'm from Spartanburg, and I did all that cool stuff. And God has a plan for you and your gifts. He may have already shown you a sneak peek already. The second chapter of Hezekiah tells us to write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. God has a vision for your life. It's a big vision. Once he shows it to you, it's up to you to run with it. He's already given you the talents and the skills that you need to run with it. He's lined up the right people that you need to get you to your destination. And he gave you that dream for a particular purpose. He didn't give it to your brother, your sister, or your best friend. He gave it to you. So don't worry about being different and trying to fit in with the others. I mean, different is good. You see, I was never into sports, and now I know why. God didn't design me to be an athlete. He made me to be an entertainer. And Jeremiah 29:11 states, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." It's up to you to live up to your potential. Pray for God's guidance. You do your part, and God will do his. Thank you.